This review is brought to you by Pepsi.
Now it's garbage.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are Just Another Movie Night, and I am Scott, and with me is my love, Joe.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, sweetheart. You're adorable. I love you.
Oh.
Always give me the best openings and introductions, and you're so freaking awesome and handsome and wonderful, too.
Today on the show, we are talking trash.
Talking trash.
Talking trash indeed. This is our show to review, spoil, debate, crap on, and give second chances to the hated, the lowest rated, and the much debated, and often forgotten flicks of the internet, all while asking the question, is this the worst movie ever made? And if not, what is? Because here on the show, we believe you can't truly review a movie without knowing what is the worst movie ever made. And thank you for smacking something as I was doing that intro.
I was just fixing my mic. I mean, I'm having difficulties.
I wish I could see into the future and then come back and take it all back and fix it.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, too, and fix this movie, because it's a big sack of turds.
Okay, so we're for the month we're doing some movies that are new releases this year that we're waiting some time, giving some time, and letting the movie come out, let everybody see it, trash talk it, and sure as shit, that's what's happening to the movie we're doing tonight, which is Madam Web, Marvel's Sony universe. Madam Web. Directed, written, and produced by F.J. Clarkson, who has done mostly a lot of television.
Okay.
This had 5 credited writers on it.
Wow.
A 3.8 as of the recording on IMDb from a 20,000 reviewers. A 26 on Metacritic. Had an $80 million budget. Now, I don't believe that for a fucking minute. It had to be way more than that.
You think?
Oh, yeah. This movie is very well known for being sent back to the script writing stage, completely changed in editing, having complete reshoots, constantly evolving because it was such a mess. There's no way to have all that happen in a big blockbuster movie from Sony to only have it at 80 million. Usually 80 million is like, you know, I mean, something, usually this is like $100 and something million dollar movie, and it has a bunch of stars in it.
Yeah.
It has a bunch of people in it that had to get some money, and also like advertisement. I know that Pepsi paid for most of the advertising in this film because, wow, everybody wants you to know Pepsi is a thing.
Yeah, it's highly advertised in this movie.
There is a scene that you cannot unsee it once you start staring at it, where Dakota Johnson, the main star of this movie, who plays the self-titled Madam Web, she is handed a can of Pepsi at a barbecue, and it is so entertaining to watch her not want to pretend to drink this thing. She keeps turning it and pretending to open it over and over, almost opening it, almost getting there, constantly doing an emotion with her hand that looks like she's opening it, but she never opens it because she must not want to drink this shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to either. It's sludge.
I couldn't even stare. I couldn't even listen to the scene or give a shit because I was staring at this Pepsi. Well, I'm lying because in this particular scene, the gentleman involved of the barbecue, who is Mike Epps, he is squashing the burgers on the grill. And anybody who knows anything about burgers, that is the worst fucking thing you could do. And the character keeps mentioning it as well. But these are the only 2 things I gave a shit in this whole scene. Anyways.
Can I just say something before we get started?
Sure.
There are over 30 10-star reviews on this.
I can't wait.
And
I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it.
I know that there are people that worked on the movie because there's just no way that anyone would give this a 10-star rating. No way.
Well, we say that a lot, but the shittiest movies we've watched on here have all had 10-star reviews.
This many for a movie that...
Yes, because this is a blockbuster film. This is one that people actually will go see. A lot of those movies that we have done on the show that have had these weird 10-star, there's culty films. This is something that will cause a debate. I think a lot of people want to see these kind of movies.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me, because speaking for myself, of course, I was excited to watch this. And here's why. I get excited for these movies that you kind of know are these big debate, hot topic, these big things that everybody's going to talk about. Like, I just really enjoy it. And I also enjoy comic book films. There's like an ounce of nostalgia there. There's all these different kind of aspects for me. But I also love talking trash. That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite show we do. I love it. I could do before and after reviews, and we could just spit out like, hey, this is what I thought after this movie. But talking trash is something that I hold dear. I just really love picking apart a film, talking about what makes a movie tick and what doesn't. So I was excited. And because I knew this is the kind of movie we were going to do, talking trash. There was no way that this movie was going to be, Casablanca. This is no way this is going to be Citizen Kane. I never in a million years thought that. I thought this could be decent and getting trashed because of what it is.
I'll admit there's a lot of hate on the internet about this. A lot of people we respect on Instagram have completely trashed this film, so I was very intrigued.
Ones and zeros. I think that's always ridiculous. I knew it wasn't going to be that bad, but I knew that it was probably going to be bad. There's always a hope that I have that these movies might be a little better. Now, I think that the reason that people are ready to shit on it, like a lot of movies recently, DC Comics in particular, people are on a hate train. And that train is going hardcore. Sony is the hate train. People don't even want to recognize that Sony has done good. The Spider-Verse films are Sony. People don't want to recognize that. They constantly forget.
Yes,
but
they do.
Any other thing that they put out, people just freak the fuck out over. Now, in the long-running series of these Sony films, not attached to Marvel, the MCU, which is the Disney version, they have attached because Sony is holding the rights to Spider-Man as close as it can. It does not want to give up this gravy train. But at this point, a lot of their films are they're failing so heavily that sooner or later they're going to have to give up.
I think so too.
They were able to combine their forces and do the Tom Holland movies. Mm-hmm. And in the last one in particular, they brought all of the Sony stuff together.
Which I thought was great.
Yeah, I mean, everybody seems to love it, right?
Yeah.
Now, that opened the door for them to have the possibility to continue one of those franchises with the other Spider-Man. Saying that their Sony universe is Andrew Garfield, bringing Andrew Garfield back. They could do that. There is stuff to do there.
Yeah.
And that possibility, it seems like they're working on it, or they were, because at the end of Morbius, they connected the Vulture from the Tom Holland movies, which didn't make a lick of sense.
No.
And now they have even more stuff going on in this movie, and they have another movie that the trailers have completely disappeared, and the movie has completely disappeared again, and that is the Kraven the Hunter film.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's the thing that's going on. I guess we definitely have to talk about that first. Sony is grasping at straws because since they only have Spider-Man, they only have Spider-Man villains and characters in the Spider-Man universe under their belt still.
Yeah.
So they are grasping at straws, hoping they can make somebody work. Spider-Man does have a great villain, rogues gallery. I would say that Batman and Spider-Man have always been the number ones and the best villains. That's just me growing up. I love Spider-Man villains. Love them. But this is like, what if a company owned Batman and said, you know what, all the Batman villains, we're going to start giving them their own movies. That's not going to be the greatest thing, especially when you try to make them anti-heroes. You're either going to have to do a dark movie like Joker did and show you, like, the taxi driver version of Joker. You know, that upbringing, following him as an anti-hero. And, like, he's not an anti-hero, whatever, depending on how you see him. But you can't do that for all these. The Sony universe, they're trying to make everybody a good guy. It does not work.
Yep, they are.
It is very, very odd. Now, Morbius could work because Morbius is kind of an anti-hero. He kind of juggles that line. So he was a smart choice. But Morbius has never been that popular of a character to have his own franchise. And that movie kind of proved that. Mm-hmm. But also, Sony is so cheap that when they get these scripts going, they throw money at these guys just to write a fast thing. Junk this sucker out. They're not even thinking about it. There is no going in and making these characters likable. They're just pushing these things out. And here we are again. You can see it all over this movie. So, yeah, I mean, look, on this show, we rip apart the movie. We kind of talk about the whole plot, and we've given this enough time. Everybody should have seen it already, so we can shit on it and spoil the crap out of it. Yeah, this movie is doing something so bizarre. It starts in 73?
Yeah, 1973.
1973. Yeah. So their idea here is, well, we can go back in time and we can tell the story before it all started, leading up to Spider-Man, with no idea if Spider-Man is ever going to be in their universe. So they're thinking, you know what? What if we start bringing every other Spider-Man out? Which kind of leads to an idea right off the bat where you have a problem. You go, but where were these characters in Spider-Man?
Right. That's what I was like. I wanted to talk to you so bad, like right after, but I knew I couldn't. I have so many questions.
Oh, I mean, this is crazy. This movie, there was a lot of bad decisions made. Now, I think that the Sony universe, again, needs a Spider-Man. I don't think, I guess this is a hot topic, so I'll just throw it out there because I know I have a lot of hot takes with my movies and the things I don't like and do like. One of the hottest things that I can say is my favorite Spider-Man is Tom Holland. Now, I know a lot of people freak the hell out about that. I think between, what's his name, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, both those series of movies have things I like about them, but they also have huge problems. But they kind of alternate, right? With the Tobey Maguire films, I like the villains. I don't like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I know that'll freak people out because a lot of people grew up with him as the first, and so they love him. I grew up the hugest Spider-Man fan. Loved Spider-Man until I discovered other comics and started changing. My first favorite comic book character was Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire, that whole series of movies feel like Sam Raimi doing Sam Raimi, making Spider-Man Darkman. It doesn't work for me. I do like some of the villains. You know, like, everybody in that movie series is corny and cheesy, and they just don't work. On the Andrew Garfield side, the villains suck. But I like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Their chemistry is amazing.
Yeah, I'll agree with some of what you just said. I do feel that Tobey Maguire had this boy next door kind of cute dorkiness about him that worked for Peter Parker. I don't think the movies were particularly good, but for the grand entrance of the Spider-Man movies, everyone was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, oh my gosh, it's Spider-Man live action.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is, I personally did not feel connected to Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I thought, first of all, he's a good-looking dude. Nothing about him screams dork.
I agree.
Nothing about him screams out, socially awkward. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that at all. He's not a science geek or anything like that. He doesn't come off like that. He comes off as a cool skateboarding kid that would have tons and tons of girls around him.
Yeah. To add to that, what you just said is, to me, Tobey Maguire is a 35-year-old high school student. That's how he always looks. He always looks like an older man.
That is true, but I also felt that same way about Andrew Garfield. I did.
I feel like Andrew Garfield could be it could be a teen, but I feel like he is that punk rock teen that's kind of like they instead of saying dorky, they went, oh, he's an outcast. That was their way of doing that.
It's like, I guess
it doesn't necessarily work, but it was an interesting change.
See, I would hang out with Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker. I would hang out with him. He seemed like a cool guy.
I would hang out with any of them. Doesn't matter to me.
I know. We hang out with the nerds. I love all the nerds. But, like, it's a nerdy, different kind of nerdy for me.
Exactly.
And I don't know if I would connect exactly with him because he just seems like... not like he's above everything, but for that character, I just felt like he was way too cool for school, you know?
I agree. And that's the problem there. And the villains are terrible. And that Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, he nails all of it. I like the romance, the connection between. I like his villains. I think he's a really good Peter Parker. Could use a little more science, but it's there a little bit. I think it kind of nails all of that. And he does feel like a high school student.
Yeah.
That's why Venom doesn't work for me as a character. Venom needs Spider-Man. You need to have that connection. So you needed either Tom Holland to connect Venom. Venom just can't appear and look like a Spider-Man character.
I thought those Venom movies were trash.
I just don't like them. I know people like them. To me, they're written terribly. They're acted into like this cheesy version. They all are trying to feel like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. But we're to the point now where we know that Thanos and the movies that it connected to Thanos exist. Sony has no chance.
Right, they don't.
The good thing, and I'm like, that's a big thing too we can talk about a little, I guess, just to mention it. There is the Russo brothers. And anything that comes after the Russo brothers touching Marvel, I'm not a big fan of because it's that corny side. The Russo brothers brought some kind of like serious tone to it. A realism to comic book films, which desperately needs to be there. You can have your jokes, you can have your lighthearted moments, but you need a serious tone to make those things work. Now, Sony just constantly keeps doing Sam Raimi. That lighthearted, everything is their idea of what they think, instead of making a movie, they're making a comic book movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's how their mindset is. Well, what's a comic book movie? Oh, it's got to be cheesy and ridiculous and stupid, and no one's going to think about the plot.
Yeah.
Wrong. We're in the Russo the universe where the Russo brothers exist. You have to treat your audience intelligently. So if you start your movie in the 70s, like this movie does, and you have an entire, well, we're going to have to do 70s, and then we're going to have to do the future, and we're going to have to do flashbacks, we're going to have to do those. You get into the point where you're going to have a nightmare on production. Because you're either going to realize, is this the right time for that? Does this thing exist? What does this thing mean? You're going to have audience members who are going to see through your bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
for sure.
And that's this movie, right? Because we were looking at it. We're watching it. 1973. We have a character who is in a rainforest studying spiders.
In Peru. It's in Peru.
Peru, yeah. So I shouldn't say the rainforest, but in Peru. And she's studying spiders. Now, how on the nose can we be, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're already going, oh, this is so ridiculous. It's that spiders are so important, and people are like, it's just like Morbius had a problem. Oh, I'm going to a specific place to find a specific kind of bat that somehow has the thing I need to genetically modify myself.
It's such a tired premise. Tired. It's ridiculous.
They can't figure out a way to make these things feel real in any sense.
Nothing is fluid. It's just so forced. And this scientist that's in this forest is like taking photos of webs and trying to find the certain spider, and she's 9 months pregnant.
Yes. And she seems to have a benefactor who's with them named Ezekiel Sims. Now, I have to point out this character. This character is a lot of the problem of this movie. And again, Sony Universe villain problems. Without a doubt, always a problem with them.
Yeah,
they just don't know how to get it right.
We have to talk about the actor playing him.
So the actor is Tahar Rahim. who was in The Serpent, who is the lead actor of The Serpent, the television show on Netflix, he was very good on that show. I don't know what the fuck is happening here. Now, all I can assume is behind the scenes, they changed the script so many times and they changed the plot and re-edited, and they had to use scenes that they already had. And so I think that they ADR'd this guy.
But why, though?
To make scenes click into the narrative that they had after re-editing it. So if you look at this guy, he does not look like he's saying his lines.
I mean, he really doesn't. It looks definitely ADR'd.
And the lines they gave him, if this actor read these lines and said, I'm in, and didn't want to walk away, there's a problem here. And that's what makes me really worried that I think that they had to re-edit it with these lines of dialogue because they're atrocious. His dialogue in this film is next level shit. He is forcing this woman to find this specific spider, and he's on a deadline. Now, I don't know why.
Yeah, why?
None of his plot makes a lick of sense in this film. He's on a deadline, and he needs this spider. He needs it, and nobody has ever seen this spider before. He thinks that they're going to miraculously find a spider that nobody has ever seen. Mm-hmm. Now, he's so in need of it that he goes and away from this woman who's researching a spider web at the moment, taking pictures of a spider web. And he goes to her tent, her well-stocked, huge tent that they've set up in this forest, right, in this jungle. And, of course, she has diaries, those comical diaries that you see in movies like this, where the woman also can draw perfectly.
Oh, of course.
She's a great sketch artist, and she has written every single thing that you can imagine all over this diary.
Of course, it's just like in Artemis Fowl, remember? He wrote down everything.
Everything. Everything's ready to go, and there's a picture, a drawn picture for everything, and artistically done. The middle of the page perfectly cut into it, then written on the sides. It's like gorgeous handwriting. It's so friggin' funny to me, the research that goes into these damn diaries and films. Well, he takes pictures of it, and he's got a little camera with him. Exactly at that moment, she finds the spider off camera. Now, I thought this was going to come back in this film. How she found it, why it came to her at that moment, all of that, it never comes back. I thought it was going to be a plot point.
I was like, okay, this is so ridiculous. Already 5 minutes in, this is forced. It's forced. It's like, okay, wow, what a miracle. No one's ever seen this spider, but she found it and she managed to capture the spider.
Oh, she managed to capture the spider, and it is the most CG'd thing ever in a jar. It is so cartoony looking. It stands out. It's so vibrant with color that it looks like it's outside. It looks like a Looney Tunes character drawn into the movie all of a sudden because you can't help but see the red. And it's all over. They keep showing it, and it's like, that looks so cheesy.
It did.
Well, now, he has the spider, right? Why he does what he does next is baffling. He just ends up killing everybody at the research site. And he takes the spider for himself, and in the struggle, shoots the pregnant woman. Now, there's people in trees, right? Now, they mention that there is a myth of spider people. People who live in the forest, and not the forest, whatever the hell it is, the jungle, and they're spider people. And she says, that's just a myth. Well, it's such a myth that she ended up writing in complete pages dedicated to these people that she thinks don't even exist.
Like, she's seen them, but she hasn't.
And she says she's a scientist. So why she's writing down myth is baffling. And why these people, because now it turns out these people who can walk on the treetops, now they don't stop this guy.
No, they don't stop him from killing all the other people.
And taking the spider. No. They come for her and decide to save her by putting her in what I would say is a set location that looks like it has a little spa in the middle of it.
It's a healing cave.
It's a healing cave. It's got a little spa in the middle. They dunk her in there with a perfect light coming out of the bottom.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. They dunk her in there, and they let a spider bite her chest. And she gives birth at that moment, and she dies.
But
and they said, Don't worry, your baby's got a long journey ahead of it, but one day she'll come back when she wants to know information, and I'll be here and ready.
Okay, because, everything's written down in that diary.
Yeah.
Which, can I just say, I have a couple questions about this. So, we actually are about to meet our main character, Dakota Johnson, who is Cassie Webb. Oh my god. And she's a paramedic. But she was brought up in the foster care system. Now, I don't know anything about Madam Web in the comic books at all. I never got into that. Where the hell is her father?
I do not know.
They never say where her father is. Ever.
Yeah, I give you a little... so Dakota Johnson is playing Cassandra Webb, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
A.k.a. Madam Web in the comics, created by Denny O'Neil and John Romita Jr. in 1980. And I'm going to show you a picture of her, and you tell me how much this speaks to what this movie's about.
Wow. That's something.
Yeah. She's like 90 years old.
Yeah, she's old.
Yeah, okay.
What the hell?
Okay.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
When we saw the previews for this back in the day, the reason we were all laughing is because anybody who knows any of the comics knows that Madam Web is an 80-year-old woman, sits in a thing, like in a spider chair, and is blind, and all this stuff. And so when we saw the trailer and saw Dakota Johnson was playing her, we were all like, what the fuck is this movie? How could they even think this was a good idea? Right? Well, now you understand some of my pain here. But, before we move too quickly into the opening here where we meet Dakota Johnson, I just gotta also mention the dialogue I was talking about with the Ezekiel Sims character. And by the way, he's another character. He was created in 2001, and he has like alternate universes, but not actually a supervillain. He actually only called Ezekiel Sims, right? And I think they call him Zeke. He says a line of dialogue, which is going to come back a lot, and I kind of pointed out as much as possible when he kills everybody. Now, the woman who is pregnant, it turns out to be Mrs. Webb. By the way, the researcher of spiders is named Webb. Okay? This was just as funny as the Tom Holland movies were directed by, or one of the, oh no, I think the...
It was a Seinfeld, it's a Seinfeld episode. He's a librarian cop named Bookman.
Bookman. By the way, I think the Andrew Garfield movies were directed by Mark Webb. I know, it's like an odd, funny thing.
I can't take it no more.
Yeah, so this woman is named Webb. I mean, it's just so silly. It's so stupid. And she says to him, after she sees all of her colleagues get shot in the head, she says to him, why? Why are you doing this? And he says, I came from nothing.
Okay.
I'm not going to lose everything. I need this.
Okay.
I came from nothing. Okay. But
well, thanks. Thanks for explaining.
That is this guy's motivation in this film. He says this multiple times. It made me laugh every time. He has to point out, I came from nothing. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Okay.
So, because you came from
cool.
nothing means you have to grow up to be a supervillain?
Yeah. Or
okay.
I have to murder these people? And she says, this spider can help so many people. And he says, I didn't care about that. I came from nothing. No one helped me. And I'm not going to help them. I'm worrying about myself. That's it. And we don't know why he needs the spider. We're never told this.
Nope.
He was willing to kill people in the 70s.
For this spider.
For this spider.
We have no idea why. I have multiple questions about the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, he could use the spider. He could go along, help other people, and help himself. But for some reason, he feels killing everybody is the way to go here.
Yeah.
Because he came from nothing, Joe.
Yeah.
No one ever gave him anything.
Yeah. See, that's what happens when no one ever gives you anything and you come from nothing. You just automatically want to become a supervillain.
Yes. Because
you're so like scorned and you're like real pissed off about how your life turned out. Instead of like turning over a new leaf and making, going the opposite direction and being a good person, you're just going to be a total dick.
Yeah, you have to be an asshole.
And screw up everyone else's life.
So, flash forward to 2003, where our movie takes place. And we are introduced to an ambulance driver and her her partner,
played by Adam Scott.
Adam Scott.
Well, I said to you, I'm like, why did he take this movie? And you said to me, well, who would turn down a Marvel role?
Well, I also said,
He
do you
should've.
know who he's playing?
And then I realized after, you're like, oh my God, he's playing Uncle Ben.
Yes.
Okay.
He is Ben
Uncle
Parker.
Ben. Yeah, I didn't know he was a paramedic.
I don't even know if that's true. I would have to look into that.
Well,
That's
and all the stories that Uncle Ben was talking to Peter about in the Spider-Man movies, I don't recall him once saying shit like that.
No, but he later on in the film, he is driving the car.
Yeah, they had to put that in there.
I don't think this is. I think it's a replica of Sam Raimi's famous car.
Yeah, okay, but nobody gives a shit.
Well,
It's
I'm
supposed
only
to be
saying-
2003. Why does he still have a freaking, like, what is it? Not even a Cadillac.
Yeah.
It's like some Oldsmobile.
Well, yeah, that's my. Okay, so they did that as a reference, but what Uncle Ben is this? Is this supposed to be Andrew Garfield's Uncle Ben?
What? No.
Because he was played by Martin Sheen. Okay, and I'm like thinking to myself, because this couldn't be Tobey Maguire's Uncle Ben.
Tobey Maguire's Uncle Ben is 300 years old.
Or are they saying this is a different universe? I don't know.
I don't know, but you know what? It doesn't even matter because poor Adam Scott got dragged into this.
Well, Adam Scott is. I mean, what? I mean, I guess. I actually don't think he's like bad in this film.
No, he's not. It's not has nothing to do with him. I think he's great. I like him as a person.
Yeah.
I just don't. This movie, we've been talking for like an hour and we haven't even scratched the surface of this.
It hasn't been that long. So, anyways, we meet these two characters and we get their whole personality set up right here in this end. All you need to know is
that Dakota Johnson's character is a total asshole. She's unlikable.
why do you say that? Because she doesn't give a shit about like kids and stuff?
No, I just there's like a demeanor about her. She's just kind of like a dick.
Well, her character is all about saving people and putting herself into peril to help people, but she doesn't have a good way of connecting to other humans. That's her character, and the reason they're saying that she's like this is because she grew up in a foster care, and her mom, who she thinks put herself into jeopardy by going into the forest and while she was pregnant with her. And anybody would grow up thinking the same thing.
Yeah, she's.
Why
a little
would my
bitter.
mom do that to me?
Can I ask you a question? This is the question number 3071. How did she know that her mother was that person? Because she was orphaned.
Oh, I can't wait to tell you about that, Joe. Because she has a suitcase.
Okay, she has a suitcase full of items that belong to her mother, including that ridiculous journal.
The best
and
packed suitcase you've ever seen with everything placed
photographs.
perfectly.
Yeah, photographs and her little feetsies, her little feet imprints when babies are born, little feet imprints.
It's all laid out perfectly.
All laid out perfectly in this little like suitcase. Now, who gave her this shit? And
Thank you.
now, when this woman was in the jungle taking photographs of a freaking spider, everyone was dead.
Yep.
So are you telling me that the spider people who saved her life delivered this like suitcase full of freaking shit to her with her mother's photograph in it so she knows what her mother looks like?
I know a scene of them driving them to the bus station and putting the luggage down with a baby. I just have to see the scene. How did this happen? It's almost like Tarzan. Like she was raised like Tarzan. We don't know. We're never told. We're just told that she's put into the foster care system. I would just love to see her go from house to house in this foster care with the suitcase.
What really freaking grinds my gears here is the fact that these spider people said, don't worry, your child's going to grow up with gifts and, be amazing and all this shit. Why would you dump this kid on some freaking stoop on someone's house or whatever? What did they do with her? Why couldn't they raise her?
I was thinking that too.
And they were just so generous to FedEx all of her mother's personal effects to her when she was an infant. I mean...
Yeah, the body too, right?
Yeah.
And they would have to have found the body. And because someone packed the suitcase, the other people were murdered. They had to have families. How did nobody know that these people are going to research with Ezekiel Sims?
True.
Yeah.
I have another question, please. I need to get this off my chest. How does she have a feety imprint with her little baby feets and a birth certificate? She was born in a freaking cave in a pool. Explain this to me. I want to know how she got... What'd they do? Did they ship her in a freaking box off to the freaking nunnery?
Is she older than she... Did they, like, tell her that, like, her birth happened at a different time, so she's actually technically older because she was born in this water? What? And then they brought her over to the hospital, and then they said...
Who's bringing her?
The spider people.
From Peru.
We see later on that the spider people dress like Frenchmen sometimes. So I don't really know.
He just needed a beret and an ascot.
He did.
I gotta tell you something. I am baffled, and I need an answer as to at what point did this baby child go through the system and get feety imprints and a goddamn social security number from Peru, being born in a freaking cave in cave water to spider people, and they somehow put her through the system?
They put her through the system.
Excuse me,
and somehow she ended up in New York.
This is the dumbest shit I have ever heard of in my life. I'm 15 minutes into this movie, and I wanted to beat the shit out of everybody involved in this movie because they're dumb. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
Okay. So back into the movie. Because what we were talking about was that they're racing somebody in the ambulance, and we're meeting our characters, and we're getting to know who they are. And Ben and her have had a relationship. We can tell because they constantly hint at it. It's a relationship that probably didn't work, and they're just like friends now, which is weird that they have to work together.
Weird.
And I don't know how long they have been working with each other. That's kind of odd. But they're also trying to save somebody as she's driving like a friggin' lunatic, and nobody in New York gives a shit about her sirens.
Nobody in New York gives a shit about anything.
So, I was a New Yorker, sweetheart.
Oh, aren't we all?
Yeah, I know, right?
Come
Everybody,
on.
yeah, where Come we are, everybody is. She's driving like a friggin' lunatic, and no one's stopping, except... And you know who doesn't give a shit? A bunch of kids skateboarding. And one stops in front of her car perfectly. Mm-hmm. And she is able to hit the brakes and not kill this person. And not also kill the person in the back.
True, but also, taking a moment to pause so she can look over at that teenager that she almost hit and get the bird flipped at her.
Yeah, because she says, get the fuck out of the way.
You're supposed to be saving someone's life. Go!
Yeah, she says, in a million years, I didn't think anybody would flick off an ambulance. And it just so happens that girl on the skateboard is one of our main characters.
Of course she is.
Yeah, she was. She's played by Celeste O'Connor, who she was in the Ghostbusters, Afterlife, and in the movie Freaky. She is playing Maddie Franklin, a.k.a. the third Spider-Woman.
She's a beautiful girl.
And so we're getting introduced to our character slowly. She is able to get to the hospital, and they are able to just bullshit. And they're bullshitting about how Ben's sister is having a baby shower, and she is invited to the barbecue, and she has to come.
Which means that they've been friends for a long time.
Yeah, but exactly at that moment, a little child who is the son of the woman they just saved comes up with a drawing that he has done.
Which is the most pointless scene in the whole entire movie. Who cares? Like, they made us a point to tell us that he made a little drawing of his family for her to say thank you for saving his mother's life. However, it never comes back.
This is one of those rare moments where I have to tell you, it's actually character stuff. I know this movie isn't the greatest at that, but the character stuff is learning that she is unattached from being... Like, she's sociably unattached to people, and that she only cares about saving these people without any regard of who she's saving or the people they are.
Okay, well, that is the complete opposite of what a life-saving person, like a frontline worker, does. Like, why would you get involved in saving lives when you have no human attachment? Like, that's ridiculous.
She's in the web.
Oh, I can't do it.
So she is brought to that, and the reason that this is done in the movie because she doesn't want to take the drawing, and Adam Scott or Ben Parker is telling her, take it. Just be a human being for fuck's sake and take it. Right? She takes it. Now, this is where we get to introduce to our another character, because it turns out the mother that they saved of this kid, she has a stepdaughter. And she is in the hallway staring at us, and it's none other than Sydney Sweeney playing Julia Cornwell. I know. It's a bad one.
it's not, it's just so cartoonish.
Her name, I would say, a.k.a. Julia Cornwell, a.k.a. Julia Carpenter, a.k.a. the second Spider-Woman, a.k.a. the second Arcane, a.k.a. the second Madam Web in the comics created by Jim Shooter and Mike Zeck in 1984.
Okay, I beg you to knock it off.
So we see her in the hallway. She's dressed in a little skirt and a thing, and then her hair, and she's got glasses, and she's a dorky looking girl.
Yeah.
And we see her and our main character, they share a look, and she doesn't know what to do. So she's like, what do I do with this drawing now? And he's like, you fold it up, put it in your pocket, and throw it away later. And she's like,
she's had some human interaction, for God's sake. I mean, she acts like she's completely removed from every human being. That's just not. I don't care if she's gone through the foster system a million times. You still have some kind of attachment to people. You have a friend who invites you to his house with his family.
But even they couldn't have a relationship because she's not good with people in that sense. She's more like a guy.
Yeah.
And then she even acts like that. She doesn't understand women at all. There's a whole thing in this movie about that. But she she's very cold, but she does do good. She is a hero in the sense, but she doesn't. It's like she doesn't care about herself.
I mean, I get that, and also, frontline workers and EMTs and emergency workers
usually have to have
to
detachment.
Be a little detached. But I mean, it's just so bizarre given the fact that she has this friend and gets invited to his home and things like that. It's
like
weird.
her work buddy.
But I also do agree with her because I hate baby showers and I hate bridal showers and all that girly crap.
Yeah.
So I get it.
They go share a Coke, and that's when we get the thing. And Ben tells her that he's met someone special, and
Excuse me, it's a Pepsi.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. How could I have forgotten?
Can you not
They're
forget the
sponsoring
sponsor,
everything.
please?
Yeah, they sponsored everything. Yeah, they're sharing a Pepsi, and he tells her he met someone special in his life, and he broke it to her in a way where it was like, hey, I want to let you down. We can't have sex anymore. That's what it seemed like to me.
I mean,
I don't know how you read this scene. It seemed like we have a relationship, and I want you to know. I want to let you down. I have a real relationship.
I think you're reading too much into that. I think that maybe he's like a player. He's like kind of like a playboy, and he's serious about this time.
Yeah, but he says it to her in a way where he feels odd to tell her. Oh, and she goes, "Oh, a real one. Okay."
I don't know.
It's a weird scene. It is a weird moment, like they've had some kind of relationship.
Maybe they have. I mean,
yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, then she goes home after her day of work, and we get to see a little bit of her life at home. When she walks into the building, she passes by a guy talking to his tenant who's looking through a chain door, and it's a younger woman who is another one of our characters. This actress is Isabella
Merced.
Uh-huh. Who was in Transformers The Last Night, which we did on this show, and a movie that we're definitely going to have to do on this show in a later time, Dora, the live-action version. She is Dora.
Is she Dora?
Yes, she is.
I think she's so cute.
Yeah, she's really pretty in this movie.
Very pretty.
I actually think the two actresses are really pretty.
The girl who plays
Celeste O'Connor.
Celeste O'Connor.
Maddie Franklin.
Maddie, yeah, she's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney, I know everyone fawns over her because of her big honkers, but I think she's pretty. I don't think she's, something to freak out over.
Yeah.
She's got some honkers.
You said I can't do it anymore?
No, AKA this, AKA someone else.
Her name is Anya, AKA the third Spider-Girl in the comics. Okay, she's talking through the door. She says, the guy's asking for the money for rent. And she says, my dad isn't home. And he's like, look, you got to stop making excuses. I have to talk to him. You owe me rent. She shares a look with our main character again as she goes up to her house, and we see that she lives a very lonely life. She has nothing going on except letting a cat in to drink milk with her.
Well, she has a lonely life because she chose that life.
Yeah. Yeah, she lives in a detached world, yeah. You could say that she needs a web to tie things together for her.
Get out.
At the same time, we get to see our villain, and we know he's a villain because we've already seen him shoot a bunch of people, but in this scene, he's walking in the most gorgeous shot ever in an opera hall. It is a gorgeous shot of this beautiful interior of this place. And of course, he's walking like a James Bond character. He's to go to the opera. He sits down next to a woman, and I guess he's never met her before, but he flirts with her by handing her the program of the opera they're watching and then taking it away suddenly. And she's like, oh, now I want to fuck you.
Okay. Well, keep in mind here that it has been 30 years since we've seen him last.
Yes, he looks exactly the same.
He has a little bit of gray hair
going.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. A little bit of gray.
But, none in his beard or anything. That, stays nice and tamed and, nice color in it and, whatever. But he's supposed to be like some, playboy that he just sit down next to some woman and automatically they just, lock eyes and
draws.
Boom.
Instantly.
And
we know this is true because the next shot is of his beautiful apartment that's overlooking the city and has a perfect tree, fake moss tree.
No, it's like a terrarium, but it looks like a tree.
Yeah, it's like a moss tree in the middle of the room with a perfect case for his spider that he found in 1973.
Yeah. Okay. So can we talk about this apartment first of all? This thing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, here's my 9,000th question, okay? What does he do to afford this high-rise apartment?
We never are told.
I need answers, goddammit. He walks in, he can just look at a woman and she'll just, fawn all over him and drool all over him. And that's his lifestyle, and he lives in this ridiculously overly priced, glass house in the sky.
Yep.
And he has all this money. Where? How? Okay, you stole the spider. You have a magic spider. Okay, great. What are you doing to get money?
Yeah.
With this spider?
Yeah. I mean, that's a question for the entire film from here on.
I have no words for this. He beds her. Okay, fine.
Yeah, she by the way, she's the opposite of you because she's already dropping draws, but she says, what a beautiful apartment.
Oh my God. Okay. This lady looks so sophisticated and so, she's got her shit together.
I guess.
And she just falls for this clown and his nonsense?
Have you heard him talk? About how he has nothing and came from nowhere?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, he can't even get his words out correctly.
Well, they have instant sex.
It's instantaneous. Whatever.
But
okay.
You know what? The best part of this is we get to see his dreams. Because this character is all about his dreams. He sees himself as an old man being beat up in the same apartment, by the way, beat up and killed by our 3 co-female leads that we've just talked about as the characters that they will become. The spider women, girl, whatever. They're all beating him up with their powers. They all have powers, and they all have these beautiful suits straight from the comic books. And he dies. And right when he dies in his dream, like Final Destination, he jumps out of bed. Oh! And the woman next to him is like, nightmare? And he's like, the same nightmare for 30 years.
But here's the thing.
For 20 years? I
He
don't know how long
just
it is.
literally met her. He probably doesn't know her name.
Nope.
And he's automatically just confiding in her his deepest, darkest fears of how he's going to be murdered by these 3 girls.
These 3 girls kill him every single night. The same dream. The same faces.
He's all consumed by it. He can't sleep. He has nightmares. It's completely haunting him that this is going to happen. And this is his future.
He says, I've come from nothing. I had nothing. I built everything I have from nothing. And these 3 will kill me one day and take it away from me.
Okay, but
So what would you do?
what did you build? Can you explain to me what you do? How do you have money? You murdered people in the freaking jungle. You killed a
Stole a
pregnant
spider.
woman.
Yeah.
You stole a spider. What are you doing with your life that you're making money? I mean, is he like whoring out this spider for its magic, essence
The
or
spider
whatever?
could be a leleprechaun. It could be a shilling that he's wishing
cannot.
on constantly.
I don't understand.
We don't know, but we do know is he says he's searching for these women his entire life. He's going to kill them before they can kill him, which makes the woman next to him go, yeah, it's time for me to go home. Actually, before she can start going for her bag, he says, there's technology out there that can help me find their faces. We've progressed. And that's when she reaches for her bag, which actually has a gun in it. And he touches her arm and injects her with poison. We can see it because it comically does that thing where the poison runs in your veins and you can see it outside.
Yes.
Yeah, and
the black veins
the
going
black veins.
through your, yeah.
It's running up her body to give us that visualization. And he says, please tell me the codes to the technology that I need before you get, you lose ability to speak. And he's like, if I let go, you'll survive. And she tells him the code, and he kills her anyways. And we see that she works for NASA.
No, she doesn't.
What was it?
NSA. She works for the National Security.
Oh, okay, that
Administration.
makes more sense.
She works for the NSA. Now, let me ask you something. How did he know that she had some kind of government contacts just by sitting next to her at an opera?
Well, no, he obviously stalked her.
Okay, that's fine. But she just attends these events by herself and sleeps with the first guy that looks at her?
Have you seen him? Did you know he came from nothing? The next scene is my favorite. He has an assistant who works for him. The only person in this film that we ever see him talk to. Mm-hmm. He has an assistant who has, for 2003, she has a basically 2020s World of Warcraft nerd setup. She has like 1,000 screens, perfectly set up, best computers you've ever seen for 2003.
Mm-hmm. And she has a facial recognition on her computer too.
She only does because she gets the device that from this woman with the passcode, which makes me question, how does the NSA not know that she's in the system?
Right.
And also, is this woman not missing? And will they change the passcode? And did she go in? And how did she change it? Because in this movie, nobody ever realizes things are done for the entire film. It's really funny.
No, there's no explanation on anything at all.
She says, oh my God, the NSA, this device that they've made, is going to revolutionize technology. Everybody's going to be tracked. Everybody's going to know where everybody is. Now, I question this is a whole point of the movie. Literally, the movie cannot happen unless this MacGuffin, this technology exists. It has to exist in this universe, right? But my question is, in 2003, was every single security camera at every single business and every single place already hooked up in a way where you can just hack in?
I don't know. That's something that I don't even know how to look that up.
Yeah, we're talking about after 9/11, right? So we were talking about like this is basically the Patriot Act when we gave the ability to do this at any time. But I would say that I didn't know everything was this ready. But maybe it is. But after this moment that he's able to get this device, he tells her, now he says to her, and now she has a lot of time. He walks in the room. His whole scene is like walking around in the darkness with this woman and saying basically what I've said 1,000 times already. I came from nothing, and I have to stop these women before they stop me because they won't take about what I built. That literally his lines of dialogue throughout this movie, and he says it, and it's completely ADR'd, right? And he's like, "I come from nothing. I have nothing.
It doesn't seem like he's talking at all. It's really weird.
It's so bad. It doesn't look like it's his lips movements. But he says, now, I have taken the drawings of what you think these women look like, these 3 women look like, and we've put it in. Now, we get to see the pictures of what the drawings of what his idea of what these women look like. It's perfect. They look like actual photographs of these people.
I mean, it's too dead on balls accurate, as Vincent LaGuardia Gambino would say.
Yeah.
Gambini. He went dead on balls accurate. Actually, no, Mona Lisa Vito said that. But yeah, it's a bit extra that the technology, they could put in just a description. And
he had, I think, 3 drawings of their faces, but they're in Spider-Man outfits. They're in outfits for the Spider Women that they are.
Well, they had she recreated that according to his memory.
They took it in. Yeah, they have drawings from they had the best sketch artists ever. It looks perfect. Perfect faces of them in Spider-Man outfits. They put it in the computer and they find the 3 women it is. Perfectly.
Mm-hmm. It's that easy.
2003. This is perfect. They completely changed without the masks and hair changes and everything.
Yep.
Completely, perfect. And they nailed them. Oh, I have their names. I have them, and we'll be looking for them. And he says, you have to find them. You have to. They're going to stop me. They're going to take everything. So,
okay, here's the thing. This is what I don't understand about this movie. If you know that they're coming to kill you, eventually, why not just prepare? You know? Prepare yourself. You obviously can fight back against them. You have some sort of abilities. Your magic spider has done something to you. You can fight back against them. You can plan for, you obviously know the moment in time where they're coming to get you. So blow the building up. Don't be there.
Yeah, you're suggesting have something change that event from happening later on in his life.
Yes, because he keeps dreaming about the same event night after night after night.
Yeah, do something. You already know it's going to be later in your life, but I guess he's suggesting that he doesn't know when it'll be. But he isn't much older looking gentleman in the scene.
Okay, but here's the thing. You can totally change that, because if you're dreaming that you're living in the same apartment, who knows how long from now, maybe don't live in that same apartment. Maybe buy a private island since you're so damn rich from who knows what.
Or maybe stop being such a dick.
And
change your life a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It's not like you have to stop eating bacon. All you have to do is just be like a better person. Don't piss off these women maybe. Or, I don't know, do anything to these women to change their lives. Just kill them financially. You don't have to. You can stop them from being Spider-Man. And now I gotta. Okay, Spider Women. This is great. These women and Dakota Johnson. She goes. There's an event that happens. She goes on a bridge and she tries to save a person's life who's in a car accident on a bridge. And she goes in. She helps this guy out by putting herself in complete mortal danger. And of course, the car dives into the water, in the ocean, and she is drowned. While she's drowning, she gets what we can only assume is in a spider web underwater, and we see glimpses of all the things that are going to happen in the movie. Little glimpses, a whole bunch of events are shown to us really quickly in the CG-like web ideas. And she is pulled out of the water and saved by Adam Scott, who says that she was under there for 3 minutes.
Yeah, she was dead.
She died, and he brought her back. And this is when she starts seeing the future, because she can tell, she starts getting deja vu. So she can see the numbers on his temperature gauge, all these things, all these stats. And then there's another event where they go to his barbecue, and he meets Emma Roberts, is Uncle Ben's sister. Adam Scott's sister. She is pregnant, and she starts seeing the future again. She sees this balloon pop over and over when they're trying to guess the baby's name, which we know is Peter. Peter Parker. They're all Parkers, and they say that her husband is away. because we know he works for Shield. He's away, so they're all having this big barbecue, and we get to see, like I said, Mike Epps is in this. He's playing the barbecue. They have another thing where they all get called out to another thing, where it turns out there's a building that is extremely dangerous because it is filled with fireworks on the bay.
Yeah, I have questions about that.
Oh well, that's going to come back heavy because that firework factory is amazing. Now they knew it was a hazard. They knew it was up to code, and there was a huge explosion. And any time, all the fireworks can be set off and kill people, and they're trying to save people. But she starts seeing Mike Epps killed, and so she tries to stop it because now this is crazy. He is going to get in an ambulance and drive off. I don't really know why, because the people that he needs to save are in this building. Mm-hmm. And he decides to run off, and she says, "No, let me drive." And he says, "You're acting like this because you just had an event recently. And you probably still shouldn't be working because you just almost died recently." And when he drives straight, he goes through a stop sign. Now remember, they're on the bay. He drives straight off, and all of a sudden a semi-truck comes out of nowhere in like Final Destination and hits him in the ambulance.
Okay, so I said this to you. I said, first of all, why was this semi-truck, going that fast on a road to nowhere? You're literally...
I wish I could see the scene again.
I want you to... we're going to see if maybe when it comes on streaming we can pull the scene up. I just recall seeing this truck speeding towards the ambulance, but where was it going? Because if you're going 60 miles an hour, which, he must have been going, you're literally driving off of the side of the pier into the water.
It's odd because there is a stop sign there, and there are two ways to go. Where was Mike Epps going? He was going straight. He
was about to turn left. And there was one way to go. You had to turn left.
I do know that the factory is facing the water, so you're right that the road shouldn't go anywhere unless it is.
It doesn't go anywhere. Trust me, I saw the scene.
But why would the... It's not... It was definitely a four-way stop.
But there's not four ways. I need you to...
I know, but I could see... that's so odd. It's so... I would have to see it again.
That semi-truck was literally going straight into the ocean. That's where it was going.
She can't save him. He's dead. He dies in the crash. And she starts realizing something's wrong. And she basically goes off and she decides to go to Poughkeepsie. She gets a train, like a bus, a train.
A train ticket.
Yeah, subway or whatever the hell it is. She gets a ticket. And just at that time, now this doesn't get explained either, all three girls are also there.
There is no reason for this.
Yeah, this never gets explained. There's a couple things in this movie they couldn't explain.
And they had to make sure that the camera facial recognition on the assistant, server finds them all in the same exact place because movie, and they, so they can send the villain there to kill them all. It's just a plot. It's a plot device,
but you think it would get explained in some way that why they all weave together. There's a lot of things that don't get explained.
They don't explain anything in this movie.
So they all show up here. They're all going, and for different reasons. We find out that one of them, Sydney Sweeney, is running away from home. We find out that all of their parents, they don't have good parents. Like, they all have missing parents. The one girl's father was deported. The other one has rich parents that never are home and don't care about her.
They just travel the world. They don't care.
She's like
overprivileged, but poor little rich girl type deal.
Yeah, and the other one's father got divorced, and then the other one, her mom's in a mental institution because her father broke up with her, and so
they all have broken homes, and they're all like fucked up.
And so does our main character. So all of them go on this train, and when she sits on this train, she starts seeing flashes of those girls all getting killed by our villain, Ezekiel Sims. Now, this is funny as shit, because he is told, by this woman on the computers. Oh, they're all here at the same time. How perfect is that? That's
It
so
was
weird.
and like, oh wow, you read our thoughts because that's exactly what the audience is thinking.
Yeah.
They're all here at the same time.
So he goes in there and she starts seeing them, basically him walking down and just killing these people with superpowers. Like just ripping their necks out, killing them one by one with no problem. And she gets them to leave the train with her. And doing so, he sees them getting out. And it looks like she's trying to kidnap them, so police try to stop it. But at the exact same time, suddenly, out of nowhere, Ezekiel Sims is dressed like a black Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's crawling on the ceiling.
He's like Spider-Man in all black with like maybe hints of other colors. I don't know. But he's just suddenly crawling on a train. He was just in a suit. And now he's in a Spider-Man gear.
I have a question.
And he is jumping around. It is so wild. And everybody sees it except the cops for some reason. So he is able to kill the cops with no problem.
Of course, but how did he get these powers again? They don't show us.
We don't know.
We haven't seen anything. This movie does not explain anything.
You're assuming that the spider does something, and that's why he has the spider, why he wanted it to get superpowers?
How does he know that
But
it
how would he
wouldn't
know?
kill him or whatever? Like, I just don't understand. There's so many questions.
They suggest that he knows about the spider people and he believes in the myth. And that's why he wants the spider so bad. But what would the spider actually give him that would get him rich?
That's what I'm trying
It
to
doesn't
figure
make any
out.
sense.
What does he do for money?
He could just be a super villain or a villain or a hero with these powers. But it doesn't mean he would fall into money unless he's punching up his way to the top. I don't know.
Oh my god. So he's just breaking into bank vaults.
Maybe?
There would
we're
be
never
some,
told.
you
We're
know-
never told about why he has the suit, how the suit's ready. I guess he's like Batman, that he has it in a briefcase. He just switches out. We don't know.
Oh god.
Well,
I can't.
he goes after the girls. She is able to protect them away and get them in a taxi cab.
We have to talk about this.
Yeah, the taxi cab is his own character.
The taxi okay, so she steals a taxi cab and she is driving these girls into the wilderness so they can be safe, and she leaves them there for a couple hours. Now, here's the thing. She literally is driving around this busted ass taxi because she's hitting things, she's trying to escape, and the taxi's just fucked, okay? Now, I motioned to you about this. I said, didn't in 2003 taxis have GPS on them because they ran through a company. Now, like Yellow Cab, okay? Yellow Cab keeps track of all their taxis. Do they not?
I think that you definitely are onto something.
They
but
put a tracker, like it's like, you know, the Brinks trucks, they have a GPS device on them.
yeah, I think okay. When you say the GPS, okay, I get what you're saying. It's like a location
tracker, like the
Got you.
like
LoJack,
LoJack, all those companies have trackers on them, you know, like Wells Fargo, like the Brinks.
This definitely has to come down to the questions of what was existing in 2003, because at this point I can't remember. I'm like,
okay,
oh, some of these things existed forever, but no,
it's not the fucking Dark Ages. Okay, it was 20
no,
years
you know
ago.
what I'm saying.
But I'm just saying, like, I believe that taxi cabs were fitted with GPS devices because, you know, customers can get kidnapped or whatever. That's a thing.
It has to be.
She travels around the city for a good 3 fucking days with this goddamn taxi. And
we'll talk about it more and more in each scene.
I just can't talk about this taxi enough.
We can talk about it forever.
And now, the taxi driver had to report the goddamn thing missing, stolen.
Yes.
How is she driving this fucking car for 2 weeks? I don't understand.
Yeah, and also on the radio, she hears that she is being targeted as the kidnapper of these 3 girls.
The NYPD should be looking for her.
Yes.
Okay.
They have description, and if it's anything like the description of the 3 spider women that this guy saw in his dream, they should nail her instantly. They should capture her so quickly.
Pretty quick.
And also, Ezekiel Sims should have they should already pick them up running into the taxi cab and have a picture of the license plate of the taxi cab and then hack into the location device on the taxi cab and already have them, because she drives them out into, like, I don't know, the Central Park in the woods. I don't know where they are.
It's definitely not Central Park.
They set a fire in the middle of this fire and then they leave it. That's another thing that really pissed me off in one scene.
I was like, wow, these girls are so dumb.
Yeah, she even says it. She's like, I'm not good with people. She's like, shut up, you're so annoying. You know, they're all like kind of talking shit about each other. But she says, look, I can see the future. And I keep seeing you guys getting killed. I'm trying to save your freaking lives. That's the point here. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, each one of them has their own personalities. The one girl can do math really well. The other girl is kind of like the shit talker. The other one is like very like shy and polite. That's their things, you know. So they gotta, like, the whole movie. Hey, they're women that gotta come together. They gotta bond. You know, that's the movie, right? And so she's like, hey, by the way, I know I brought you here in the middle of the woods, but I'm gonna leave you for a little while. And they're like, 3 young girls in the middle of the woods isn't the best idea. I agree with them. But she says, look, I'll be back. I just have to get something. I just realized that my entire life connects to this guy.
Now, okay.
Yeah. They only saw him for a minute outside of the spider, whatever the hell suit you want to call this guy's suit. What do you want to call this thing? I don't know. Ninja. The ninja spider.
It's Spider-Man, but it's just black and red.
Yeah. They only saw him outside of it for a second in a moving train car.
But they know what he looks like.
They all know his face perfectly. Enough to her to remember, oh my God, everything ties back to my mother of the suitcase back in the spider hunting days.
Yeah, now let's go back to that suitcase.
So she runs back home and leaves these 3 girls, and she says, hey, don't do anything stupid, which we know they're going to do a lot of shit that's stupid.
Yeah.
She goes home, she gets the suitcase. This is where we get to watch the suitcase being opened. And again, because she put the little drawing in there early in the movie, but she goes through it again, she gets the diary out. Now, if I had this diary, I would remember it from heart. This is my mom's diary. This is all I was left. What was she doing? You, every year of your life for the 30 years or whatever the hell age she is in this movie, you would read this thing over and over and over.
Yeah, she's 30.
Yeah. So she doesn't seem to know this diary very well, but well enough that she goes, I remember stuff. So she runs home.
How?
She opens up the diary and a photograph pops out.
Okay. So it was a photograph of Ezekiel and her mother. Now, who took this picture?
Now, he was like ready to kill her any moment she found the spider. So why he's taking a picture? In the picture, they both look like they're in shock, like someone's taking a photograph, but it's on the floor in front of them, like in a spider web.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. They both look shocked. Anyways, she's like, oh my God, that was the guy that was researching my with my mother when she died.
I mean, you can go back to all your premonitions and you can see his face. Yeah, okay, you got it. But does she ask any questions?
2 things that just clicked into my damn mind I wanted to talk about, and I just forgot them. I just remembered. I have to bring them up. Earlier in the movie, she figures out that she can see the future, and the way that she does it is a pigeon hits her window when she drops a bowl of popcorn in her kitchen. So she opens the window up and she goes, well, I don't think this is going to do anything. But the pigeon flies in and survives. So she's like, I can change the future. Now, when Mike Epps gets in the ambulance, she stops him by talking to him for a few minutes. Did she cause his death? Because wouldn't she have stopped it if he was a couple seconds later, he would have seen the car coming?
That's a really good point. I feel like you are 100% correct.
Because by holding him back, she would have killed him.
He would have gotten in. He would have already made that left-hand turn, and he would have been ahead of the truck.
Or the truck already would have passed.
But she held him up. So
she held him up. The truck should have passed. They're suggesting that by doing what she did, she killed him. So if she is outside of the time, she should be changing it just by doing that interaction of stopping him for a few minutes from driving off. Yeah, well, she should have saved him.
Her powers are so ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this movie.
It makes no sense at all.
Yeah, because
she doesn't know how to use them.
Well, no, and there's never like the training montage. She just starts using them.
She just starts using them
because because movie. she goes back to get the girls, but they're already gone because they went to a diner and ordered every single thing on the menu. But there's some cute boys in the back of the room, which makes them go over to flirt with them. And Britney Spears' Toxic comes on.
I motioned to you about this.
Now, I said to you, I think the song is later.
No, it actually is that year. It is. I looked it up.
All right.
So it came out in 2003.
The guy on the radio goes, "This is going to be a big hit, I promise you. Britney Spears' Toxic."
Well, thanks for that. We don't
Yeah.
care.
The three girls dance. They decide to get up in front of these boys and start dancing. One of them's in a skirt.
Oh, Sydney Sweeney's in like a little schoolgirl outfit,
And
which
they're dancing on a corner table above all the boys.
yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't know about you and how many diners you've been to, but every time I try to dance on a table at a diner, the waitresses and hostess tell me to get down or they're going to call the police. So I know that you can't just go into a diner and start dancing on a table.
Yeah, search Waffle House. Any video on YouTube from Waffle House and just see what happens when you
Maybe
try to
in
do
a
anything
Waffle,
in a Waffle House.
A Waffle House in Alabama, you might get away with a little
I'm
bit more.
pretty sure a chair will be thrown at your head.
The roaches are trying to get out of there, so I don't think anyone's going to be dancing on the table.
Well, because these idiots are dancing on the table, there's one redneck sitting at the bar looking at his newspaper, and he says, "Those are the three kidnapped girls."
yeah,
he
they look.
knows them.
They look kidnapped.
They look kidnapped. I know.
Yeah,
they're
look.
dancing on
They're
a table.
dancing and having a great time, and
So he dials 911
Yeah.
on a payphone, and that alerts the computer hub to call Ezekiel and tell him in his Corvette to go get them at this thing, which makes him put on a headset, a perfect ear headset, and call and pretend he's the police. And tell them that he's the SWAT car that's going to check out, and he doesn't need backup.
yeah.
And I was like,
okay, that works.
okay,
You know, there's an incident happening. These kidnapped girls were found, and you don't need backup.
and
like
he was able to connect
that.
his phone, his Bluetooth in 2003 to the thing. You didn't even talk about the guy on the train that was playing on his phone. I don't even know. We were like, how old is that phone?
Okay, he was clearly using a Galaxy.
I was like, what is that,
a
PSP?
Samsung Galaxy S23. Okay, that phone was an Android. It was brand new, and I'm
Yeah.
talking brand new as in 2023. They can't keep up with their shit.
Yeah.
And also, as far as the soundtrack goes, they played one song from 2003.
Yeah, they kept playing it like loosely.
They
Yeah.
kept playing 80s. It was a lot of 80s. We got Tiffany. I think We're Alone Now. We got stuff from the 80s. Like, they just couldn't tell what the hell they were doing.
Well, what's the end song? There's like a real weird song at the end credits. I can't remember what it was now. Anyways, Ezekiel goes to the diner to kill them, and we get to see another montage of him killing them. Which is always funny, just brutally snapping their necks is so funny. But she is able to figure those all out by seeing time. So she's using the radio to tell the Toxic song that's playing. I don't understand that part at all. It seemed like she was being connected. It was very odd because static starts coming out of the radio, and then she gets back onto the thing, and I don't know how, but she's able to crash into Ezekiel in the front of this place.
She crashes into the fucking diner. Now, here we go again with the fact that this goddamn taxi has been all over the city, and there's not one cop trailing her. There's nothing. Nothing. And she crashes through the front of a diner. Now, there are patrons and employees of this diner that are seeing all this. They're seeing a shadowy black Spider-Man. It doesn't add up. There's a hot mess. I mean, who knows how many people she could have ran over when
I was thinking about that too.
Crashed into this diner. I mean, she's a complete freaking lunatic.
But the Spider guy, now I don't know if this movie cut out something where they told us that he has charge of the police, because he killed in the subway at least 4 cops.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, more than that. He's kicking them some of them onto the subway car tracks, and he's killing them, and for some reason they're saying a 30-year-old girl did it?
Yeah.
They don't even
here's the
announce that
thing.
cops were murdered. They just announced that she kidnapped these 3 girls.
Don't they have cameras on the platforms and the subways?
I agree.
Okay.
It's like they... And she's like, how are they mentioning him? And they're like, nobody saw him except us? No one
Yeah.
believes us? And I also could swear they handcuffed her, but somehow she doesn't have handcuffs on. But I don't know if they cut something out where they cut out that he's like covering up the cops. I don't know what's happening here, because even when they break in and steal the 3 girls out of the diner, he punches a bunch of the patrons in the face. And no one's saying, like, a guy dressed as like a ninja just beat everybody up in here, and a woman came in and smashed into them. Now, on the way out, he's able to grab her hand for a second and poison her a little bit. It doesn't do anything to her.
No.
But she now knows that his touch is poisonous. That's important because it'll never come back again.
A lot of shit doesn't come back again.
They go to a motel. Apparently no cameras anywhere. In a stolen cab, and park in a stolen cab in front of a motel.
She leaves the fucking cab in the goddamn parking lot.
In the parking lot with the license plate facing everybody.
And the fucking car is busted
Up. It just went into a window. So now, not only was it stolen from the actual cab driver, but it also crashed into some stuff on the way. But it also went through a front of a business, and no one has found it. Now they're parked in a motel, stayed the night. She teaches them CPR. And
because movie, and it's going to come back.
They get the bond. And then this is my favorite bit that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. She seems to leave in the middle of the night and go back to the diner. And she goes into the diner, a crime scene in her cab, and has... I don't even know what this is. She goes into the web, and he's there, and they have a conversation where he walks around her and says, I came from nothing. I had nothing. And I'm going to kill them. I have superpowers that I got from the spiders. Aww. And she goes, but why them? And he goes, because they kill me when they get superpowers. And she goes, wait, they have superpowers? And he goes, yes, they will. And she goes, huh. And you were doing what? I killed your mother, and I got the spider, and I did all this stuff because I came from nothing, and I have nothing. And she's like, oh. And then it turns out it's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
What is this? Does she have a power that she can go and talk to him? Did they really talk in some kind of web universe that we don't know about? Are they going to explain this somehow?
No, they don't.
Absolutely not.
I feel like everything that happens between her and him is not really happening. I feel like it's all a dream.
But then, how would she get all this information?
Right. Don't forget, she read the whole diary now. So she knows.
But she doesn't know about Ezekiel Sims' like... In the future, the characters will get powers, and he tells her, and I became this spider person, so I can go kill them, and because I came... Like, I have superpowers, and then she says to them, okay, so he has superpowers now, and also that's how he can walk on walls and walk upside down. It's really corny as shit watching him walk all over the place, by the way.
Yeah,
so funny looking. And he also has a specific poison that if he grabs you long enough, it could kill you. A lot of facts come from this dream sequence.
I mean, how did she even know any of that, you know?
Then she says, all right, guys, I'm sorry I have to do this. I'm going to call my friend Ben, and you're going to stay with him for a while, because I'm going to go to Peru for 2 weeks.
In the busted up taxi cab, she's going to drive that taxi cab to the airport, leave it in the parking garage.
This is exactly what she does.
Get on a plane
We're
to
not
Peru.
making this up.
And then she's going to stay for what she says a week to figure things out and go find the spider people or whatever. And that's exactly what she does. She goes there to Peru.
She goes to Peru.
And she finds the guy that delivered her as a baby in the cave pool.
He's been waiting.
He's like, I knew you were going to come back here for some information. Oh, okay, thanks. Well, he's dressed like he just smoked some Gouda and had some baguettes. He looks like not a spider person at all. Just like a regular Joe Schmo that just came out of Barney's, bought some new shoes.
Yep.
And tells her everything.
He soul punches her into the water that she was birthed in. And her soul goes
Yeah.
in there, and she sees everything. So much stuff that she actually sees her mother's life before she was born. Because now she
Yeah.
also has the power of seeing the past.
Yeah, because we need to know that. Because we have no clarification on half the shit that's happening in this movie.
What we needed explained is why her mother put her baby in jeopardy like this, going to study poisonous spiders. And we were told that she was told that her baby has a disease. Now, I question to you that I don't think that's how that works. In 73, I don't even think today, you can't find out if your baby has an immune disease. Right? Like, isn't an immune disease, like, isn't that something that comes later?
I mean,
Like,
I
don't you
feel
find
like
out later? You can't be not born yet, and then like, oh, you know what? Your baby has this disease. Baffling. It was so baffling. I was like, it turns out that the spider she went, because she tells the woman at the hospital, she tells the doctor, oh, what about this spider in Peru that you can go get that has this thing? It's a very experimental procedure, but the spider can stop diseases.
Okay.
So she wasn't caring about any other human being on the earth when she knew about this spider that has a miracle cure, but she only cares about when her baby has it. And she says, oh, you're not giving me anything. I'm going to go to Peru and I'm going to find the spider and save my baby.
Okay, so we don't know how long she was out there trying to find this spider.
Exactly.
She could have been out there for the whole pregnancy duration. She could
You
have
know,
also given birth without finding the spider, but
Yeah.
she somehow miraculously finds it right before she's due to give birth.
Yes.
But I will say this. The ultrasound technology for pregnant women was actually available in 1973.
That doesn't show a disease that you're going to have later on.
But it will detect spina bifida, which is also like a neurological thing.
But that's not an immune disease.
No. I'm
An
just
immu-
telling
that's what I'm
you
saying,
that
an
that's
immune
how
disease?
far it went, I think, in 1973. That's what you can find out.
All right, that's because I think they're like maybe they could test for genetic diseases that you can pass on to your child. Mm-hmm. But this isn't a genetic disease; it's an immune disease. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know enough about this stuff to even talk.
None
about
of it
but
even matters
it
because
doesn't
it's
matter.
all a load of
So,
shit.
Oh, she's like, oh, that's why my mom did that to me. She loved me.
She brought herself a 9-month pregnant woman to the forest or jungle or whatever
A very
to find
dangerous
this
jungle.
dangerous spider that she doesn't even know how she's going to administer this miracle cure to herself, but she just needs to find this spider
Yeah.
in the jungle of Peru, and she finds it at the 11th hour. And, oh my gosh, my mom was really trying to save me.
Yeah, she was
Now,
trying to save me.
Where's your fucking father? Do we need to know anything about him? Nah.
And the guy tells her, you know what? You have a lot of powers. You can be in more places at once. You can be in multiple places at once. You can use the web to do other things. Everybody gets different powers. And Ezekiel Sims got powers of strength and spider powers. But you got the spider also can a sixth sense. They have a sixth sense where they can see the future. That's not. What the fuck are you talking? Spiders don't see the future.
I know.
They use a web that when something steps on it, they can feel it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But he says Ezekiel Sims got powers, but because he stole the spider, he was cursed. And the curse is that he can see his death. And that he gets killed because he is cursed. That's what this guy says. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay.
So when he stole the spider, he didn't know about the curse yet? He was only cursed after the spider?
Yeah.
And then, so he just stole it knowing that he might get superpowers from the spider?
Yeah.
And that was his whole plan. And I'm like, and then he gets cursed and he can see his death. Okay. Are we going to find out how the girls get spider powers? Nope.
No.
We're never going to be told that either.
We're not. Okay, first of all, you're asking too much. We don't know anything about pretty much anything in this movie. We don't know about her father. We don't know about pretty much anything. Nothing.
Well, she goes back to, now we laughed our asses off. She gets back from Peru and is driving the same cab.
Which I thought was amazing because...
It was left in an airport. No cops, security, or anybody looked at a cab
No.
left at the airport.
Okay.
But
and again...
perfect timing because Emma Roberts is in labor.
Perfect timing.
And for some crazy reason, although they know it's a really dangerous thing to do, they put all three girls in the car with them, which Uncle Ben is driving, hit that car that he's known for, and they all get in it. Why would they not leave the girls behind when they know that they can't be near security cameras?
Didn't she say, please keep them safe? You know, why did they all need to get in the car and go to the hospital with Emma Roberts?
Why? It doesn't make any sense, except for putting them in jeopardy, where now one of them looks out the window perfectly, stares at a security camera perfectly, and they see it instantly, and Ezekiel Sims goes after them.
Of course. Now, Dakota Johnson's coming back from this situation.
And sees the future.
And she, oh my God, we have to talk about how she commandeers an ambulance. She steals an ambulance. She crawls up with the ambulance through a parking garage on many levels, blows out the freaking wall in the parking garage, and lands perfectly where she can stop Ezekiel from throwing a grenade onto the girl's car and killing them. It hits
him perfectly.
It's quite shocking.
His grenade goes under another car, and I'm guessing kills another bunch of humans.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it looks like it goes under it blows up on a cab, and later on that cab is still sitting there, like, shocked.
I mean, why?
Yeah, and so they're able to escape. He splits up. They split up. They told, go to the hospital, have the baby. He's not going to go after you. He's after the girls. So they put them in the ambulance because, you know, an ambulance, I guess, is the best option here.
Of course.
He's able to change. He has the girl on the working his, his secretary, whatever the hell she is, his tech. She's like changing lights for him. She could do all this stuff. He actually threatened her. He's like, you're going to die if you don't help me. Okay, sure, I'll help you. Right?
Yeah, well, he said, I'm paying you a lot of money, and if you don't help me, I'm pretty much going to take you out.
Yeah, he's like, I pay you a lot. Do something. I came from nothing. So he goes after him, and her idea is to electrocute with the paddles the roof of the car. I don't think this is how that works at all.
Okay, first of all, she charged up the paddles for the resuscitation, and she put it on the roof inside the ambulance.
Yeah.
Now, I know that part is metal, and I get it.
Is it? Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, it is. But would it shock him to the point
No.
where, like... Because that's exactly what happens. He flies...
He flies off. Now, she has to come up because the cab... Remember now, it jumped out of a second floor, like a third floor building, crashed into the street, and is still running, except now it decides to stop. So they're under a bridge, and she goes, you know what? We're near that firework factory that's extremely dangerous. And let me look at the future right now and plan an idea to trap him in it.
Yep.
So, let's go and get all these flares, and we're going to go and blow that factory up. Now, when they get to the factory, this is my fucking favorite thing. I laughed so hard when I saw this. They get to the factory, and there's a giant hole from the first explosion in the movie, and it was left unattended and completely open, where kids can go up here and just go in a firework factory that's extremely dangerous, and it's not roped off, shut down, or anything, and not the fireworks have not been removed.
Nope.
They're all still there in the open for anybody to come in here and get them. So what do? They stick flares in the crates.
So they can blow him up. That's what they're trying to do.
They're trying to blow him up. He goes in there, and we have a fireworks show with fireworks hitting Ezekiel, but like comically hitting him, where when they hit him, he flies off like a Looney Tunes character.
It looks like
it's a firework.
He's like a piece of rubber getting bounced off the wall.
Yeah, he's. By the way, he's also like a brick house. He's so strong, and he's got these spider powers. But still, little fireworks are hitting him and throwing him away. And she knows exactly where her powers are so amazing that she knows every firework is going to be hitting. And my favorite is she says, "Oh, duck, everybody," and they duck, and the fireworks hit the wall in front of them, blowing it up and letting them walk through it. And I said, "Fireworks. These are fireworks. These aren't TNT." I mean, like, I know that, like, I know they have the power of blowing up, but not a brick fucking wall.
A brick building.
The only thing that should be happening here is this place should be engulfed in flames.
It should, yeah.
They
There's
should
a
be
lot
dead
of
from
like
inhalation
dried, like wood crates, and like there's enough in here that would definitely make this building go up.
Yeah, they should be dead instantly. But everything's working out perfectly. She sees that they can get to the roof and get to a helicopter that she called in previously with from the ambulance. And they land and they get them in the ambulance and in the helicopter, I mean, to fly off. And that's her whole plan. But for some reason, none of that works properly. She can see fireworks are going to hit at certain angles and certain times and certain places.
But she doesn't catch it when it hits the fucking helicopter and blows it up.
And why is that changed? It doesn't make any sense why that is different in her vision. Like, I don't understand when her powers decide to work and when they don't. Well, anyways, she everything goes wrong. Oh, they're going to die. The girls are going to die. And Ezekiel decides, I don't want to kill the girls anymore right now. The whole point of this movie is these girls. They're all hanging from things that they're going to die.
They're all in peril.
And he decides to go to Madam Web and say, you know what? I want to kill you now. And now my favorite is he grabs her throat. What's wrong with that, Joe?
Okay, well...
You didn't catch it either, right? Because the producers and the writers, the directors, and everybody involved in this movie didn't catch it either. He poisons people when he touches them.
Yeah, he poisons them.
So why isn't she dead instantly?
Well, she did explain this, that she has some sort of, like the longer he holds on to you, the quicker the poison works.
Yes, so she got her hand touched, and he didn't hold it long, but it hurt her. He's holding her throat. It should be spreading to her head instantly. She should die.
True.
She'd be dead instantaneously here.
Yeah, well, why?
And he's doing both hands.
Why
guess
do
what?
that? Why?
They forgot the poison existed, and it's gone from the movie.
Yeah, why bother with that?
Yeah.
Right now, the girls are hanging on by a thread, literally. We need to save them.
I'm glad you said thread, because she is able to use her powers to all of a sudden just make 3 of herself attached by threads, and they all have the strength of picking them up and saving them.
Yeah, by the way, there's not a freaking scratch on these girls anyway.
Yeah, nothing.
They're hanging from rafters.
Yeah.
Literally, one of them lands on a super hot, pipe inside the building. The whole place underneath her is on fire.
There's fireworks shooting out.
And she lands on it and doesn't get burned. There's nothing wrong with them. Their clothes aren't even torn.
Yeah.
It's just astounding. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
It's insane. And she says to him, it wasn't them that your destiny, it was me. Okay, I don't understand. I don't understand how, if any of this is going to come true. I don't understand we don't get to explain that. Like, why the changing of time? How do they affect it? How do they rewrite it? How is, it's so rewritten. Like, he never expected her, but she had to be existing to get them to survive.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense. She saves them all, but in process, killing him, Ezekiel gets crushed by a sign. They falls on top of him and crushes him. It's this S that she keeps saying, but she's hit, and she falls off into the ocean, and the fireworks. This is great.
They whiz by her, but they don't actually hit her.
But one flies in the water and hits her in the face.
Yeah. And so she's under the water, and Sydney Sweeney jumps in and saves her and grabs her out. And guess what happens now? They give her CPR.
That she perfectly taught them.
It was like they learned it, so now they have to use it on her.
Yeah.
And this is, mind you, second time in like a week that she has been resuscitated.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure she would have gone into cardiac arrest at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they save her life, and she's like kind of blinded. She's
blind.
Yeah, and
She got hit in the face, and somehow it blinded her eyes. Underwater, got hit with a firework in the face.
Why not?
Okay, sure. And she is now in a hospital, sitting there with the comical wrap, perfect thing on her eyes, like she's blinded. And she's taking this pretty well because she's talking like this. I'm great. Everything I need is right here in front of me.
So great, and everyone I need is here.
And the girls are like, we're together. And the nurse comes and says, are you family? And she says, they're all mine.
They're all mine. Like, oh, she learned something from all this, like how to be a human being and how to like be nurturing, I guess. Okay, great. No one gives a shit.
So the next shot is straight up hilarious. They rip off the Birds of Prey, an Oracle from DC Comics, and have her sitting in a watchtower, blind, in a wheelchair, staring out of her watchtower window that just so happens to look like a web. She has a new place that has it's like a loft with a elevator in the room, and the three girls are living with her. Did she adopt these three girls?
I don't know if they're living there. They just brought takeout. They don't say that they're living there. They explain nothing in this movie. Nothing is explained.
They don't say that they got powers. She's seeing the future. They're comically doing that. She looks out the window, and by the way, they keep saying, with great power comes great responsibility, but they don't say it like that. They say, with power comes greatness, or something like that. No,
acknowledging your responsibility, you will gain great power, or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like they're so wanted to say it, but they didn't say it.
It's just so dumb.
And now we get a shot of all of them looking out the web, and then we see them in their superhero outfits, and they're a superhero team. And the four of them are all superheroed up, and they're like, in the future, we're gonna fight back, and we're gonna be the heroes that we're born to be, or some shit. And they're in their super, but we were never fucking told how they got superpowers. These girls never get superpowers in this movie. It's not in the movie.
No, it's not. And we forgot to mention how Ezekiel does get thrown off the building and he dies, and the Pepsi sign lands on him. We forgot to say that.
Was it a Pepsi sign?
It was a Pepsi sign.
He's actually killed by Pepsi.
Just to hammer in that it's Pepsi.
And at the end, the girls bring her dinner, and they're all drinking Pepsis.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They're paying for this piece of shit. You know, it just sums it up, because Pepsi is... I mean, I don't like soda, but Pepsi is the inferior cola company.
I don't mind Pepsi. I'm okay with Pepsi.
I don't like Pepsi. I don't. It's all sludge anyway.
I love Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper's Pepsi.
They own Mountain Dew, and that's just liquid cocaine.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, we drink Aquafina, which is Pepsi. And also Pure Leaf, which is Pepsi.
Damn it!
We're a Pepsi house.
I'm out. I'm not ever drinking Pure Leaf again. No, that's a lie. I'm addicted to Pure Leaf.
Yeah, Aquafina and Pure Leaf are your favorite things.
No, we've been drinking junk water recently, though.
What, Nestle?
Yeah.
It's not junk water.
It's junk water.
Anyways, so look, I don't understand half this shit. I don't understand half this movie. I know there's so many things I was like, what the fuck?
We could probably talk for another 3 hours.
Oh my God.
I'm going to fall asleep.
It's insane.
I got to tell you, this movie itself almost made me fall asleep. It was boring.
Now, you said, I didn't actually think it was boring.
I thought it was boring.
I don't think this movie is as bad as the ones and the twos and stuff like that. I don't think it's that bad. I actually think, as a movie goes, it's fast moving. It never stops. It's silly and it's stupid and it's messed up and the plot doesn't make sense. And there's a lot of bad cliches that are used in Hollywood. There's problems. But do you think it's really that bad?
I didn't like any of the characters in the movie. And I thought that she's awful. I don't like Dakota Johnson. I think she's mediocre at best.
I don't have a problem with her.
I mean, I didn't like her character in this. I
no,
wasn't a
and
big
you can
fan.
tell she didn't like doing the movie. You can tell.
She did. She seemed like she was just,
She wanted to get it done.
Yeah, she was just rushing through the whole thing. And the other three girls, they're really cute girls, and they were fine.
They were
You know,
fine.
they didn't bother me at all. They did their job, and that was it.
Same thing with Adam Scott.
And he
It's
was
fine.
there. He was fine, but like this movie it sucked. There's nothing going on, and also a lot of people don't really know a whole lot about this character. You know, going into this, I think if you're gonna make a movie like this with this obscure character who's supposed to be 90, but being played by a 30-year-old, okay, you should at least have a draw. Somebody that can bring butts to the seats. I don't think Dakota Johnson is that person. I don't think she has that charisma. I don't think she has charisma, period. She's very, just plain.
Yeah, you know,
plain
it's funny
Jane.
with her. I've said this. I think thinking about her career, I was shocked when we saw the Suspiria remake because I think that was the best.
That's her best
I have
movie.
ever seen her.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably movies that she's in that I'm forgetting right now, but a lot of the ones that were the big ones, they all were like terrible to me.
And we watched that hotel movie, and
Oh, I like that film.
we
She's in
like
it?
that too. But she's part of an ensemble cast. She didn't hold the movie together herself.
Okay, I
But,
like that film. I forgot that she was in that.
I didn't see the 50 Shades piece of
Yeah,
shit.
I tried to watch
don't
some of it. It was
that.
terrible.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm out. But I don't find her to be charismatic or,
Yeah,
there's nothing about her.
I was just saying the Suspiria remake. She's more sexy in that than she is in 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh.
That is wild to me.
I thought she was sexy in
She does a dance
Suspiria.
scene in Suspiria. It's really sexy. Like I was like, okay, I get it, but I can't believe this is not in a movie like 50 Shades of Grey where you're supposed to be bisexual.
Yeah, true.
I don't mind her. She feels really odd in this. I actually don't mind. I like the scenes where she's talking to Adam Scott. I feel like they have like a fun bond that seems like really interesting. And I think that's funny every time she tells the girls to shut the hell up, that they're annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's funny. And she also does play that part well at the baby shower where she's like, I'm not really one of you girls.
Yeah.
She's kind of perfect for that. I was like, that's kind of stuff like that makes sense to me. But I don't think this movie is as bad as people are saying. I definitely, you said at the end of it that you think that this is worse than the Marvels.
Well, I did say that, but let me see what Hold on.
I'm pretty sure we gave that a 4.
Okay. Well, then that's right. I gave it a 4. This I'll give a 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did not like this movie.
I'm going to give it a 4. I don't think I think it's so close. It's like, it's got a lot of problems, but as these movies go, like Morbius and Venom, I don't like those movies more. I think that Morbius is it's just bad. I liked this more than that, and I think this is a mess. I also think the Venom movies are like they're funny in a way where I don't think I'm supposed to be laughing at the things that I'm laughing at. I just don't like them. Here I was like, it's decent enough. It's still not good, and I'm gonna give it a 4. But to me, the Marvels is on par with this. They have the same exact problems, but I like the characters in this more than I like the Marvels characters, and I like Kamala Khan or whatever. Mm-hmm. I like her, and I could care less. Like, it actually made me mad about the Marvels, made me mad over Marvel in general. This movie, I was like, okay, this is stupid fun. I was like, I can see this in the line of The Shadow or The Phantom or those movies. Like, they're not that great. I found this less boring than some of those movies.
Oh God, I found it boring as hell.
Yeah, I didn't. I find it boring because I was looking at the things to laugh about, and I was enjoying myself doing that. Definitely a 4. I couldn't go lower.
Okay, I can. So I'm picking a 3. I can't. I never want to
Surprised.
see this movie again. There was just nothing about it that grabbed me. There's
Okay.
nothing inviting about it. So that's it.
All right, so we're saying this isn't the worst movie ever made,
No.
but what is on our list we've been doing
Yeah,
recently?
let's do our list.
We've been compiling our list of all the movies we've seen since we've started doing this and seeing which ones are the worst and which ones are the best. And we have, I think, compiled now what is it? Like 25 movies. Oh yeah, this will be the 25th movie we put on this list, and we're both saying it's not good. And you're saying it's worse than I am.
It's terrible.
Is this worse? Because I'm looking at this list. It's definitely not in the top 10 for me. I don't know if you would agree with that. Would you say this is better or worse than Silent Night?
Oh, God. It's better than Silent Night.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I think I gave Silent Night a 2.
Is this better or worse than Artemis Fowl?
It's better.
Wow, okay. Okay, so my next question is this better than Leprechaun 3?
Oh, my God. Yes.
It's better?
Yes.
Holy shit. All right, because you gave Leprechaun 3 at 5.
No, I'm taking it back. Leprechaun 3 was funny.
So, is this better than Exorcist Believer?
No.
It's worse than Exorcist Believer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put this between Hard Rock Zombies and Exorcist Believer.
God. All right. I really got to say, I do agree with a lot of what people are saying on Instagram.
Well, please read this 10-star review for me, because you said you found one.
Okay, when I tell you that I found a 10-star review, that's not a joke. I found 30 plus 10-star reviews.
I just need to hear one.
I'm just going to pick one. Like, I'm not even going to, it's like not even going to be a thing. I'm not reading any. I'm just going to pick just one. They should change the name of the Academy Award from Oscar to Webby.
That's already an award.
There is a new gold standard in filmmaking, and it is Madam Web. The makers of Madam Web put on an absolute clinic with the creation of this masterpiece that the likes of Tarantino, Scorsese, Spielberg...
All right, you can stop. This is a joke.
And Wiseau and Breen should study and attempt to emulate.
This is a joke, okay. Is there an actual 10 that's not a joke?
Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I picked this one. This is the first one I saw. However, all the 10-star reviews are like this.
They're all jokes.
Yeah. Except for this one lady.
This is this segment, by the way, why we can't have nice things. And why we can't have nice things is people doing joke reviews like this and making the score so ridiculous.
Well, a lot of them are jokes. I did scroll through a couple of them. However, this lady here, wow, the reviews are ridiculous. Is this another hating a women superhero movie?
Oh, God.
Here we go with this freaking idiot.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so her kids liked it. Her kids had a good time. She said the plot is pretty solid. The first part makes you think it's not a superhero movie. It reminded me of Final Destination a bit. That's what she said.
Oh my God.
I think it was a good introduction story.
It does remind me of Final Destination.
She had to have a life before becoming Madam Web. It reminded me of the 2000 superhero movies where there wasn't that much crazy CG and had a good story. It's a long review. Her kids liked it. That's it. Fuck you, lady. Okay? Fuck you. I don't give a shit. The kids don't know what's going on. No one knows what's going on. There's no explanation in this piece of crap. So fuck you.
I love you. I don't even think I'm going to edit this podcast, this episode. I think I'm just going to put it out because it's just us ranting for hours.
Fine. Yeah, let me read the 1 star. I found this one. This is great. 1 out of 10. How can someone rehire these writers after Morbius? I'm at a loss for words. I don't understand how Hollywood works, but I'm sure these dudes either have dirty on someone high up or actually paid to be part of this. It's not possible to hire someone that wrote Morbius and think, oh well, hope it works this time. It doesn't. Plus, why does this feel like a direct-to-DVD movie mashed with a bad CW TV show?
Wow.
Just to explain how bad this movie was, not even Sydney's bust could make it interesting. Yes, that bad.
I hate people.
That's rude, number 1.
That's bad. I
don't
like
say that stuff, but I did say it too, that, boys like her because she has big boobs. That's not a lie. She has nice jugs. That's fine.
It's funny to even talk about her over the other 2 girls. To be honest with you.
Yeah, to say that, though, first of all, that's just very sexist and rude. And, whatever. But anyway.
I had to look it up. These are the writers from Morbius.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He said the acting is bad, but I blame it on the writers, not the actresses. Poor creatures were dealt a bad hand. That's the first number 1, 1 out of 10 bad review. but yeah, I just.
I'm looking it up. I cannot believe that they hired the Morbius people again. Those guys have to change their names. They also wrote Gods of Egypt. That movie's also terrible. Wow, I'm shocked. Good Lord. Well, at least he taught me something, that person.
Yeah, he was kind of rude, but still, I mean, I get it.
It's so...
You know, it's...
The way that they're talking about Sydney Sweeney, everybody's talking about her, is really off-putting to me.
Well, I mean, she's become like a sex symbol.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. She's attractive, okay?
Yeah.
Fine.
That's fine.
You know,
sorry, I mean, upset you.
No. I'm just saying, but to say something like that in a movie review, like that's just rude. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I'm sick of this. Fucking crap.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. I love you.
I love you too. And I gotta tell you, I don't like Dakota Johnson. She has a charisma of a frozen tater tot. I don't like her. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. And every time I see another movie of hers, it's probably gonna be just another piece of crap because I'm jaded.
It is wild.
I don't want to be this way. I take it back. I'm not jaded. I'll watch more of her movies because I want to be proved wrong. But I'm not a big fan of hers.
I like that. I was just going, I don't like the way that people are talking about Sydney Sweeney. And you're like, yeah, I don't either. Anyways, this girl sucks.
Here's the thing. I just haven't been, the only one I liked of hers was Suspiria. That's it.
You brought up the Battle Royale.
Yeah, but that wasn't because of her. That was an ensemble
I'd have to look
cast.
her up. I'm sure we saw the ones we like.
We have to see more of her film, her resume, in order to make a real decision on how we feel about her as an actress. But I gotta tell you, I don't think she has a lot of charisma in some of her movies.
I can see what you're saying. I can see it. It is an odd choice, but the character, the movie itself, is bad. It's bad. I feel bad for her, this material. She said a lot of things recently and pretty much said she didn't like this movie either. And then she said that she wanted to give faith to the director and writer of this movie. The director is the writer as well. She wanted to give her credit. And she's like, I don't think that some of this makes sense. There was so many rewrites. There's so many problems, reshoots. She's like, I still wanted to give her credit and let her make her movie.
And I get that, and I think that's nice. But on the other hand, like, you're trying to ride the coattails of Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, that kind of thing. Those were beautiful movies. I think that with a character this obscure that a lot of people don't really know about, the trailer didn't bring anything to the table either. It didn't make me excited or,
It made me excited because I knew it was going to be shit.
Oh, you knew it was going to be shit. See, that's the thing. I don't want to watch a trailer and be like, oh, that's going to be shit.
You don't do that? I know you see horror movie trailers and you go, oh, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, because, I do like watching bad movies. But at least when there's something to laugh about and discuss, and, I feel like this movie was a bit drab. I wasn't excited by anything. It was
Look at it. Here we are talking about still.
I know, we're 3.5 hours in. I got to go to bed. Good night.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. You know what? Hit us on social media. I would love to hear. I think everybody agrees that this isn't a good movie. So, you know what? Whatever. You know what? That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, we're on social media at Just Another Movie Night on Instagram, and Joe is at The Crafty Misfit. Go check that page out. And thanks for listening. I'm sorry about the long rants, but we got a lot of shit to say. I want to know what happened to the taxi cab. I want to know how the girls got the powers. I want to know why things are happening. I want to know why Ezekiel got powers. I want to know what he does for a living. If you got any of these information for us, if you have any answers, I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.